In this movie, we'll turn our attention to the print dialog box and we'll take a look at the general printing options. In order to demonstrate these options, I'm going to expand the size of the fourth artboard. So I'm going to advance to that artboard and then I'll press Shift-O in order to switch to the artboard mode. Next, I'll make sure that my upper left reference point is selected up here in the control panel. And then I'll change the W value from 580 points to 800 points. That makes the artboard considerably wider. It also shoves the fourth artboard onto the fifth artboard, so I'll press Shift page down to advance to the fifth artboard, and then I'll change the X value, which is a placement setting, to 2,000 points, and press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac. All right, now I'll go back to the fourth artboard by pressing Shift page up, and I'll press the Escape key in order to exit the artboard mode. Make sure your black arrow tool is selected, and then go ahead and marquee a portion of the surfboard here. Then press the Enter key or the Return key on the Mac to bring up the Move dialog box. And if you're working along with me, change the horizontal value to 180 points. The vertical value should be 0 points. Then click OK. Now marquee both the crop marks and the skateboard because the crop marks are static after all. And then press the Enter key again, the Return key on the Mac, and change the horizontal value to 40 points this time. Leave the vertical value set to 0 points. Then click OK. And what we have now is a horizontal artboard, whereas all of the other artboards inside of this document are vertical. All right, now let's say I want to print the document, or at least specify some printing options, by going up to the File menu and choosing the Print command, or you can press Control-P or Command-P on the Mac. And that brings up a very dense dialog box of options. Illustrator provides one of the best printing engines in the business, so it's not surprising that you have a lot of settings to choose from, but they're organized pretty darn well. For starters, you can select the printer that you want to use, and I have quite a few printers that are networked to this computer. You should see all of the printers that you've installed on your machine. If it's a PostScript printer, as is the case with this Ricoh, then you'll also have available to you a PostScript printer description, or PPD. If you're working with a non-PostScript printer, such as this LaserJet here in the office, then the PPD option will appear dimmed. That's nothing to worry about, however. Illustrator is equally capable of printing to PostScript and non-PostScript printers alike. Now take a look at this preview down here in the lower left corner. Notice that it's showing as page 1 of 5, and you can advance through these pages in order to see each one of them. These general settings are pretty much your standard fare, starting with the number of copies you want to print, you can reverse their order, and so forth. Notice, however, that we've got this range option. So I could specify that I only want to print artboards 1 through 3, in which case I reduce the number of pages that I can preview. And so now I'm only seeing 1 of page 3 because I'm only printing 3 pages in all. You can also specify non-adjacent pages by entering commas. So I could enter 1, 3, 5. And incidentally, you can also mix and match commas and dashes if you like. Now notice down here that I'm seeing 1 of 3, so page 1 of 3, which happens to be artboard 1. That's what the parenthetical means. Then if I advance to the next one, this is page 2 of 3, but it's artboard 3. And then if I advance to the final page 3 of 3, it's actually artboard 5. So I just want you to have a sense for how to read that information. Now by default, media size will probably be set to define by driver, and then you can select the media size you want to, which is most likely going to be linked to some sort of paper tray, and that's going to vary from one device to the next. Here's one of the most interesting options right here, auto rotate. I'm going to change my page range to 3 through 5, like so. And now I can see that the first page is actually artboard 3, and that the artwork, because it's vertical, is upright. And that is a function of this auto rotate option right there. Whereas if I advance to my next page, 2 of 3, which is actually artboard 4, Illustrator takes that horizontal artboard and automatically rotates it on its side so it fits the paper. And then when I advance to the final artboard, it is once again upright. That's a terrific function, I have to tell you, but you can override it. If you decide for some reason that you want to print artboard 4 upright, then you can turn auto rotate off and then select this first orientation icon. And of course, you can go ahead and rotate the page the other direction if you want to, or even rotate it so it's upside down. However, I'm going to go ahead and turn auto rotate back on. I'm also going to set my artboards back to all so that I'm printing all the artboards in this document. Now, I do most of my printing to this LaserJet Pro here in the office, so I'm going to go ahead and save off my settings here by clicking on this little hard drive icon, and then I'll enter a name such as Boulder Studio, and then click OK, and now I can select Boulder Studio from the print preset list anytime I like in order to retrieve these settings as well as the printer. Now, when you're finished, you have one of two options. You can choose to actually print the document right now, or you can just click the Done button, which is going to save your settings along with the document. So I'll just go ahead and click Done. And then if you really wanted to save those settings, you would go up to the File menu and choose the Save command, or press Control-S here on the PC or Command-S on the Mac. And that's how you take advantage of Illustrator's most basic general printing options. In the next movie, we'll take a look at placement, scale, and tiling.